Let's take a quick look at the South Park destruction of Meghan and Harry, just because it's so fun.
We want privacy! We want privacy!
Now, there are rumours they might be suing, because they sue everybody over everything normally, especially if it's true.
Piers Morgan didn't just blast Meghan Markle, he detonated every inch of her royal facade the moment she pointed her lawyers at a cartoon. She thought legal threats could muzzle South Park, but Piers poured jet fuel on the fire. In his studio, lights blazing, he opened the show with a single thundercrack line. "Meghan, if you can't take a joke, give back the crown you borrowed." The words echoed across the airwaves, slicing straight into Meghan's latest stunt, drafting legal warnings over an episode that lampooned her privacy crusade. And Piers wasn't about to whisper, he was about to roar.
Their approval ratings now have fallen below Prince Andrew's in America. I mean, how unpopular do you have to be less popular than him? So it's pretty extraordinary to see their descent. And obviously, on a personal level, I feel really sad.
You think sex work is beneath some people? Is that what you're arguing?
Probably for a member of the royal family, yeah.
I don't know
You probably
about
shouldn't
that.
be a hooker. Yeah. On balance, a member of the British royal family probably ought to steer clear of sex work, yeah.
What it tells us is, rather comically, that when you have this couple who, remember on their website, it says that they're all about compassion. They're compassionate people. They're also all about mental health and helping people with mental health. They've been very vocal about that recently, about the perils of online trolling and the effect it has on people's mental health. And yet here we are with Vanity Fair, the Hollywood Bible, the thing that Meghan was most thrilled about getting the cover of a few years ago when she got engaged to Harry, which went down very badly with the palace at the time, I can tell you. But now it reveals that actually she in particular is a nasty little bully who sends staff into therapy. Think about that for a moment. This also follows all the stories about her bullying staff over here in the UK. Which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here. So it's no surprise to people who work at Buckingham Palace. They saw and witnessed all this here. So I just showed, look, they're a pair of hypocrites, they're a pair of chancers, as the Spotify guy called them, a pair of effing grifters. And they're desperately trying to maintain some kind of future as a renegade royal couple when they're no longer part of the royal family. The royals don't talk to them. The king does not talk to his own son. None of the senior royals talk to these two.
Have you talked to Meghan since?
I have not.
Do you think you should interview her?
Let's get them both in front of a camera. I have a few supplementary questions. First question would be, so let me get this straight. The royal family were racist about the skin colour of your unborn baby. This is what you said to Oprah Winfrey. And they also were so disgustingly callous that a senior member of the Buckingham Palace team told you, Meghan, you couldn't get help for having suicidal thoughts, even though your husband was a figurehead for a mental health charity. These are two unbelievable claims. I mean, shocking, horrific. If those things are true, the whole royal family should be disbanded. The monarchy should end. An odd thing happened. Prince Harry writes his book full of incendiary claims and allegations. Do you know the two things that he didn't put in the book? The racism and the mental health stuff. It was like it never happened. And when he got asked about the racism, he said, oh, that was a media invention. So my first question would be, what happened to those claims? I think the damage those two have done to the royal family has been incalculable.
South Park aired the worldwide privacy tour, a 22-minute caricature of two fame-hungry royals who shout, "We want privacy," while marching through TV studios and book signings. Viewers instantly recognized the thinly veiled duo, Meghan's breathy monologues, Harry's vacant grin, their cartoon crowns wobbling as they sprinted from spotlight to spotlight. Instead of laughing it off, Meghan's team drafted cease and desist letters and floated the words "legal action" to every newsroom in earshot. That single phrase, legal action, turned a funny episode into a global headline. Cue Piers Morgan, the man who has sparred with Meghan since her first interview. Tears hit prime time. He smelled hypocrisy from a mile away and launched into a full-scale takedown on live television.
The problem with these two is they turn everything, there's a phrase that I like, which is over-egg the souffle, right? They're always over-egging the souffle. Whatever went on last night, it wasn't a 2-hour high-speed chase around Manhattan. It was probably at least half of that was spent, it seems, stationary or in a police station. And what was really going on, because it's perfectly legal for paparazzi in New York to follow celebrities. Nobody got arrested. The police said there was no specific incident. Nobody got hurt. There was no collision. In the end, it's just Harry and Meghan complaining about press intrusion, having been in an event where they invited the world's media to come and pay homage to them.
For those of you who are listening, that was the cartoon Meghan and Harry holding their placards, their protesting signs saying, "We want privacy, we want privacy," okay?
"It's rich," he barked, pacing his set like a lion in a glass cage. She fled royal duty because the press was cruel, then chases cameras in California, and now she's suing cartoonists? That's not privacy, that's vanity in neon lights. Every sentence was a jab. Every pause was a loaded silence, daring Meghan to answer. Piers replayed the South Park clip. Meghan's cartoon double waving a "stop looking at us" backwards sign while drumming up a reality show deal. He paused the frame, zoomed on the cartoon tiara, and glared into the lens. "Look familiar, Duchess?" he sneered. "If the animated shoe fits, wear it." No court docket showed an official filing, but Piers hammered the point. The threat alone proved Meghan never wanted a normal life. She wanted a curated one, bubble-wrapped from ridicule. He rattled off the timeline: leave the palace, sign a multi-million-dollar Netflix documentary, cash a book, advance, cry about privacy, attack any comedian who mimics the contradictions. Piers slammed his fist on the desk. "Comedy is a mirror, Meghan. It reflects what you broadcast. If you don't like the reflection, change your actions, not the mirror." Real royalty, Piers reminded viewers, means showing up to ribbon cuttings in the pouring rain, comforting disaster victims at dawn, thanking soldiers at midnight without cameras demanding retakes. Meghan skipped that grind. She kept the Duchess title like a designer handbag, then tried to invoice the world for prestige every time she uttered service on a podcast. Piers told the audience about Queen Elizabeth's decades of duty without complaint. Then he threw up a split screen. The late Queen visiting flood survivors in muddy boots versus Meghan on a curated podcast set, cushions fluffed, lighting engineered for soft focus. That, he thundered, pointing at the Queen, is service. This, he jabbed at Meghan still, is self-service. Harry didn't dodge the blast zone. Piers questioned how a former combat veteran once famed for jokes and grit now cowers behind threatening letters. "You wore the uniform," Piers snapped, "yet you can't face a cartoon? What happened to the soldier who laughed off Taliban propaganda?" He leaned closer to the camera. "Harry, you traded Apache rotors for Hollywood drones. If you won't defend free speech, stop quoting your grandmother's love of it." Piers ticked off every instance Meghan tried to shut down criticism: tabloid lawsuits, family gag orders, staff NDAs, now cartoon quarrels. In each case, the playbook was identical: public pity followed by private lawyers. Piers drew a straight line through them all, calling it a roadmap to censorship. "Freedom of expression didn't bow to kings," he hissed. "It will not bow to a duchess who quit." Then came Meghan's latest branding fiasco. Piers held up a mock-up jar of Meghan's strawberry jam, signature scrawled "Her Royal Highness." He twirled it under studio lights. "She walked away from HRH duties, yet clings to the monogram for merch," he said. "If she's royalty in retail, why not royalty in service?" The studio audience chuckled. Piers pressed on. "This lawsuit threat isn't about dignity. It's about trademark, protecting the brand, not the crown." By threatening South Park, Meghan boosted its viewership overnight. Clips flooded feeds, memes exploded, the episode ranked top searches for days. Piers spelled it out. She tried to bury a joke and buried her own credibility instead. He gestured to a ticker counting video streams. Numbers ticked upward as he spoke, proof the attempt to silence only amplified the satire. Near the 40-minute mark, Piers quieted his tone, dropping the volume so every word hit like gravel sliding across steel. "Meghan, royalty isn't a costume you rent for photo shoots. It's a lifetime lease signed in service and humility. If jokes shake your palace, the walls were paper in the first place." He paused, eyes locked on the lens. "Drop the lawsuit, drop the title, drop the act, or keep dancing in front of cameras you claim to despise. Just don't pretend you're not the one switching on the spotlight." With that, he ended the segment. No fade-out fluff, no soft music, just a hard cut to silence that said everything he hadn't. The debate was over, and Meghan lost. Piers' rant raced across networks, radio shows, and morning headlines. Clip compilations hit millions of views before noon. Commentators quoted his one-liners while late-night hosts replayed his costume jab on loop. Each replay widened the crack in Meghan's carefully crafted narrative. Inside her camp, PR advisors scrambled. Threatening South Park had already backfired. Now Piers' megaphone pumped the backlash to full volume. There was no safe corner left. Every new statement risked another verbal thumping from Morgan. 1 week later, cameras caught Meghan leaving an event, reporters shouting questions about Piers' rebuke. She kept walking, head down, no comment. But the silence only proved Piers' point. She could run, but she couldn't hide from mockery. Piers aired the clip that night, leaning back in his chair, victorious. Still waiting on that lawsuit, he smirked. Cartoons haven't moved, but the Duchess sure did. Roll credits, lights dim, and Meghan's fake royalty facade never looked thinner.